Have you ever wondered how your favorite chocolate bar is made? It all starts with the cacao tree. Our journey begins in the tropical regions of the world, where the air is humid, the sun is warm, and the rain is plenty. It's here that the cacao tree thrives, spreading its branches under the tropical canopy. The cacao tree is a delicate and sensitive plant, requiring just the right balance of warmth, rain, and shade to grow. It's not an easy task, but when done right, the result is the birthplace of all chocolate, the cacao pod. Now, the cacao tree is no ordinary tree. It's a marvel of nature, capable of bearing fruit all year round. And not just any fruit, but the cacao pod, a vibrant rugby ball-shaped marvel that hangs directly from the tree's trunk. Each pod is a treasure trove packed with beans that are the raw ingredient for chocolate. But it's not as simple as just plucking a pod from the tree. Harvesting cacao pods is a careful and precise process. Each pod must be perfectly ripe, signaled by a change in color from green to yellow or orange. The pods are cut from the tree using a long pole with a blade at the end, a process that requires a skilled hand to ensure the tree isn't damaged and can continue to bear fruit. These cacao pods are the heart of every chocolate bar you've ever enjoyed. Inside each one, you'll find about 20 to 60 cacao beans nestled within a sweet, pulpy interior. It's these beans that, through a process of fermentation, drying, and roasting, become the rich, flavorful cocoa we know and love. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. For now, let's stick with the cacao pods, freshly harvested and full of potential. They're the first step on the road to chocolate, a journey that takes time, care, and a whole lot of love. The cacao tree is where our chocolate journey begins with the harvesting of the cacao pods. Inside each cacao pod there are about 20 to 60 cacao beans, the magic ingredient for our beloved chocolate. Quite an impressive number, isn't it? Now let's talk about how we get these little gems out of their cozy homes and onto the path of becoming chocolate. Extracting the cacao beans from the pods is a hands-on process. Farmers begin by cracking open the cacao pods with a machete, revealing a pulp-filled interior. This pulp, often described as sweet and tart, is home to the precious cacao beans. Each pod is then manually scraped to separate the beans from the pulp, a process requiring both care and precision. Once the beans have been extracted, they're moved on to the next crucial step: fermentation. Now, you might be thinking, fermentation? Isn't that for making wine or beer? Well, yes, but it's also a vital part of the chocolate-making process. You see, during fermentation, the beans are covered and left to sit for several days in the tropical heat. This allows the sugars in the pulp to naturally ferment, producing heat and in turn causing the beans to sweat. As the beans sweat, the pulp residue begins to drain away and the beans start to germinate, only to be stopped in their tracks by the heat. This is where the magic really happens. The fermentation process essentially kickstarts the development of those deep, complex, chocolatey flavors we all know and love. Without this step, the beans would merely taste bitter and astringent, hardly the making of a delectable chocolate treat. After fermentation, the beans are not quite ready to be transformed into chocolate bars just yet. They need to dry out first. The beans are spread out and left to dry under the sun for about a week, losing much of their moisture and becoming less acidic. After fermentation, the cacao beans are dried, ready for the next stage. And that, my friends, is how we go from cacao pod to dried cacao beans, ready to be transformed into the chocolate we all know and crave. The dried cacao beans are then shipped worldwide to be transformed into the chocolate we all know and love. Let's dive into the fascinating process that turns these humble beans into the exquisite delicacy we crave. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the true essence of the cacao bean is revealed only after it is heated. This begins the roasting process. The beans are carefully roasted at just the right temperature to coax out the flavors hidden within their shells. It's a delicate dance of heat and time, a balance that must be struck to avoid burning the beans and spoiling their taste. This process is akin to roasting coffee, where the beans are heated until they crack open, revealing the rich, dark treasures inside. Once roasted to perfection, the cacao beans are ground down, their hard shells giving way to a gritty, coarse paste. This paste, known as cacao mass or chocolate liquor, is the heart and soul of all chocolate products. It's not something you'd want to sip on a cold evening though. Despite its name, it's unsweetened and quite bitter. But don't fret, it's this intensity that gives chocolate its depth and complexity. The chocolate liquor then embarks on a transformative journey. It's passed through a hydraulic press that separates it into two distinct components. On one hand, we have the cocoa solids, the source of the deep, rich flavors we associate with chocolate. On the other hand, we have the cocoa butter, a creamy white substance that gives chocolate its smooth, melt-in-your-mouth texture. This separation process is vital. It allows chocolate makers to precisely control the flavor and texture of their products. They can adjust the ratio of cocoa solids to cocoa butter, add sugar or milk, and blend different types of cacao to create a symphony of flavors that will dance on your palate. With the cocoa solids and cocoa butter, we're a step closer to the final product. This journey has only just begun, but the promise of a tantalizing chocolate bar is already within reach. Now that we have our cocoa solids and cocoa butter, it's time to craft our chocolate bar. The magic begins when cocoa solids and cocoa butter meet their sweet companions, sugar and often milk. The ratio of these ingredients determines the type of chocolate that will be created. A higher percentage of cocoa solids and cocoa butter will result in dark chocolate, while more sugar and milk will give us milk chocolate. White chocolate, on the other hand, contains only cocoa butter, sugar and milk, but no cocoa solids. So, how do we blend these ingredients into a smooth and delectable chocolate bar? The answer is a process called conching. Conching is like a long and gentle dance where the ingredients are ground and aerated, reducing any gritty texture and letting the flavors develop and harmonize. It's a bit like kneading bread dough, but in this case, we're refining chocolate. The duration of the conching process affects the final taste of the chocolate. Short conching times can leave the chocolate with a more pronounced, earthy cocoa flavor, while longer durations can mellow the flavor, creating a more rounded and balanced taste. Once the conching process is complete, the chocolate has to cool down. But we can't just let it solidify any old way. The cooling process, known as tempering, is crucial to achieve a glossy finish and a satisfying snap when you break the bar. Tempering involves carefully controlling the temperature of the chocolate as it cools. It starts off warm, then it's cooled down, then warmed up slightly again. This process forms stable cocoa butter crystals, giving the chocolate its desirable texture and sheen. Finally, the tempered chocolate is poured into molds. These molds are what give the chocolate its final shape. Whether it's a simple bar or an intricate design, the mold is the final touch in crafting the chocolate bar. After conching, the chocolate is tempered and molded into the shape of a chocolate bar, and just formed humble cocoa solids and cocoa butter into a sublime treat that's loved the world over. And there you have it, the journey of a chocolate bar from a cacao tree to your hands. Let's rewind for a moment. Picture the lush tropical regions near the equator where cacao trees thrive. These trees, shrouded in mystery and beauty, bear the precious cacao pods. These pods, vibrant and full of life, are harvested with care, revealing the cacao beans within. These beans, the heart and soul of chocolate, are then fermented and dried. This process, often overlooked, is no less crucial. It is here that the beans begin to develop their flavor profiles, setting the stage for the chocolate that they will become. Once dried, these beans are then shipped to factories around the world. There they are roasted, which brings out their rich, chocolatey aroma. This is a delicate process, as too much heat can burn the beans, while too little leaves them underdeveloped. After roasting, the beans are cracked open to reveal the nibs. These nibs, small but mighty, are ground into a paste known as chocolate liquor. This is the base for all chocolate products. The chocolate liquor is then refined and conched. During this stage, the chocolate is smoothed out and any remaining bitterness is removed. The amount of time spent in this stage greatly affects the final texture and flavor of the chocolate. Finally tempered and molded into the bars we know and love. Tempering is a precise process that gives the chocolate its glossy finish and satisfying snap. Each step, from the cacao tree to the chocolate bar, is a testament to the complexity and artistry that goes into creating this beloved treat. It is a journey marked by careful cultivation, meticulous processing, and an unwavering commitment to quality. So next time you enjoy your favorite chocolate, remember the sweet journey it took to get to you.